Hey brother, my name's Joshua from JP Fitness and I help guys with big butts burn fat, build muscle and improve their body confidence. So having a big butt that sticks out can be extremely embarrassing for a man. Since I uploaded my first videos to the channel, I have received hundreds of comments and messages from guys like you who are experiencing this pain. You might be feeling extremely insecure about your body. Others may have made fun of your appearance in the past, which has shot your confidence down. You might even hate going outside because of how you feel about yourself. How do I know this? Well, it's because I've gone through this trauma myself and have made it to the other side, and you can too. The first step in stopping your butt from sticking out is to diagnose the problem. I knew that I always had a genetically big butt when I was younger, but what I didn't know until a couple years ago was that my posture could have been the cause too. This posture issue is called anterior pelvic tilt, which is where your pelvis is rotated forward, which forces your spine to curve in a way that makes your butt and stomach stick out. This is often caused by excessive sitting and not enough physical activity and stretching. On a personal level, I was always super active, so I knew this wasn't the case for me. But if you have been living a non-active lifestyle, this may apply to you. The reality is that anterior pelvic tilt is actually common in most people, with as many as 85% of men experiencing a form of this condition. It is more common in sprinters who form this as part of their explosive training and sport. While this may sound comforting, your problem still remains, so let's get back to it. Overview and symptoms. There are commonly no symptoms such as pain associated with this condition, and chances are if you're watching this, you are simply unhappy with how you look and feel. What is causing your butt to stick out is due to a muscular imbalance. Basically, your hip flexors, which connect your hip to your leg, are too tight, and your butt muscles, your glutes, are too weak. Also, your lower back muscles are too tight, and your abs are also weak. So you can see why these imbalances cause your pelvis to rotate forward and make your butt stick out like that. This can lead to complications such as lordosis, which in extreme cases can cause severe issues such as disc bulges and herniations. So even if your issue is only aesthetic, you want to solve this for health reasons. Diagnosis. How can you tell if it's anterior pelvic tilt? If you want to be sure, there are a couple of easy and convenient tests we can do. Number 1, look at your body from the side. If the front of your waistband is lower than the back, then you have anterior pelvic tilt. You can also lay on your back with your knees bent and your feet on the ground as if you were going to do a sit-up. If there is a significant gap between your lower back and the ground, then you have anterior pelvic tilt. So, give that a try, and if the tests come back negative, then you may just have a fat butt. If that's you, click here now and that'll help you get rid of that in no time. Solution. So it's time to take responsibility here. Whilst this can be a genetic issue, it has likely been made worse by sitting too much and being inactive. So we can reverse your anterior pelvic tilt by getting that butt off your seat and training. In a nutshell, we need to strengthen your abs and glutes. We also need to stretch and massage your hip flexors and lower back to get them loose. We can do this primarily through resistance training and stretching. You can do this at home, but I would encourage you to incorporate weights either at home or at a local gym. Let's start with strengthening your glutes. I'll admit, before I started researching this topic, I stayed away from most glute-specific exercises because I feared it would make my butt bigger. But in reality, I should have been doing this all along. But hey, you live and you learn. So to strengthen your glutes, we are going to focus on these exercises: hip thrusts, squats, lunges, and the hip abduction machine. Whilst you are going to be hitting that booty hard and be fighting with the ladies for the equipment, remember to check your ego at the door and remember your reason why you're doing this. Okay, so we're going to start with the hip thrust. The hip thrust is a fantastic exercise for strengthening both your glutes and your hamstrings too. For the hip thrust, you want to find a bench around 18 inches high and place it against the wall or similar sturdy surface like a wall. Place your back on the edge of the bench with your legs straight and flat on the ground. Use large plates if possible so you can elevate the bar off the ground and have space to roll it onto your hips. Use a barbell pad or a mat if you like and place it between the bar and your hips for comfort. Make sure the bar is centered on your body, and once on your hips, bend your knees and thrust your hips up to the ceiling. Your knees should become in line with your shoulders. Then you want to bring your hips down as close to the floor as you can without the plates touching the ground to keep tension on your glutes, and repeat the movement. Exhale as you thrust up, 1 second up and then 2 seconds down as you inhale, and then repeat. The barbell squat is another excellent exercise for strengthening your glutes, and is commonly known as the king of all exercises as it works on multiple muscles on your entire body, specifically your legs. For the barbell squat, you want to place the bar on the rack so that it is in line with your nipples. Grab the bar with your hands shoulder width apart and place your head under the center of the bar so that the bar rests on your trapezius muscles and not your neck. Get your feet hip width apart and stand up straight, gently lifting the bar off the rack, and then take a couple of steps back. Be careful to stand far away from the rack so that the plates do not hit the rack, as this can lead to disaster. Once you are set and are in a safe position with feet hip width apart and toes pointed forwards, first inhale and slowly bend your knees and hips until your thighs are parallel to the ground. Keep looking up and straight ahead and keep your chest up and back straight. Once you get as deep as is comfortable, begin to exhale and extend your hips and knees until you get back to your starting position. Repeat this for anything between 6 to 15 reps and then walk forward and re-rack the bar once you are finished. You can also do this using body weight alone. The same technique applies. You can just keep your hands in front of you or crossed behind your head. The lunge is another excellent exercise for strengthening your glutes whilst also targeting your quads and hamstrings. There are many variations, with my favourite being the walking lunge. To perform this exercise, grab some dumbbells or kettlebells and proceed to extend your foot roughly 1 meter ahead as if you were literally lunging forward. As you step forward, take a deep breath in. Next, bend both knees so that your rear knee is as close to the floor as possible without making contact. Next, as you exhale, extend your knees and hips and then bring your back foot a meter ahead of your front foot. This will create a walking motion, and you should really notice the stretch in your glutes and quads as you perform this movement. Walk 10 steps ahead and then turn back for another 10 steps for 20 in total. You can also perform this with a barbell or even using body weight as a starting point. As with all resistance training, you want to always be pushing yourself to lift more to force your muscles to keep adapting and getting stronger. Hip abduction machine. If you are fortunate enough to have a hip abduction machine at your gym, make sure you use it. This is a perfect exercise to isolate your glutes and make them stronger. To perform this exercise, get in the seat and get the pads to the lowest setting where your legs are as close to each other as possible. Once set, exhale and force your legs apart as wide as possible. It should take 1 second to complete this movement. Then pause for a split second and slowly control, bringing your legs back together, inhaling in the process. Control the eccentric part of the movement for about 2 seconds. Keep your chest up and really focus on the mind-muscle connection to get the most out of the exercise. With these exercises, bear in mind that there is a chance you can make your butt bigger if too much volume is performed. Instead of going for 4 sets of 8 to 12 reps, which is optimal for building muscle, I would recommend going for 5 sets of 3 reps instead. The only negative is that you are going to need to lift much heavier loads, which opens the risk to injury, so that would be my only consideration. Plank. The plank is the best exercise you can do for strengthening your abs. It is super simple, requires zero equipment, and is very effective also. To perform this exercise, simply lie down on the ground face down with your weights on your forearms and your toes. Your forearms should be shoulder width apart with elbows bent, and you should have your feet together while you prop yourself up on your toes. There should be a straight line from your head to your ankles, and you should focus on contracting your abdominals while simultaneously contracting your glutes to bring your pelvis into a neutral position. Try and hold this position for 1 minute to begin with, followed by a minute rest, and do this 4 times. If this position is too difficult, you can put the weights on your knees instead. As your abs get stronger, you can progress the exercise by reducing the rest time in between sets, increasing the work time, or increasing the number of sets. Hip flexor stretches. Kneeling hip flexor stretch. Get on one knee and place your other foot ahead with your front knee bent at 90 degrees. Picture your hips like a cogwheel and rotate your hips backwards. This will put you into posterior pelvic tilt, and you should start to feel tightness in the front of your hip as your hip flexors and quad are being stretched. Now maintain that tilt and move your whole torso forwards to feel the stretch even more. Hold this for at least 60 seconds and do this 3 times on each side. If you want to feel this even more, raise your arm and side bend away from the hip that is down. Lower back stretches. Child pose stretch. This is one of the most effective and safest lower back stretches you can do. Get on your knees and sit as far back on your heels as you can while simultaneously stretching your hands out in front of you as far as possible. Hold this stretch for 45 seconds and repeat this 4 times. Double knee chest. Lie on your back and bring both knees towards your chest with your lower back against the ground. Hold this stretch for 45 seconds and repeat this 4 times. Other solutions and prevention. These workouts and stretches will fix your anterior pelvic tilt, and you should start to see changes within weeks. A general lifestyle change will also help, such as sitting less and walking more. Also consider activities such as yoga to stretch and get your body in alignment. Incorporating these changes into your lifestyle are crucial to fixing your posture and your confidence. But remember, prevention is better than cure. Keep these changes permanent and say goodbye to your butt sticking out forever. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope it helps. If your butt is still sticking out after a few weeks, then you may be suffering from a condition called steatopedia, which causes you to store excess fat in your buttocks. If this is you, please click the link here now. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.